good afternoon, everybody. How's everybody doing today?
Good.
Y'all ready to play today?
Yes.
But before we do any playing, we're going to do a little bit of theory. So, yes, don't chuckle. This is going to be fun. Okay, so, guys, I'm sure heard of the term subdivision. And if you hear the word subdivision and put it in like a musical sense, what do you think that term would possibly mean? Anybody have an idea? It's okay to say.
Dividing of something.
Notes?
Like, we live in a subdivision. My house.
Yeah, but in a musical sense, that's what I'm asking for. Yes, yes.
Dividing different notes.
Yeah, so essentially it's like rhythm being broken down into like smaller fragments. So let's take a quarter note, for example, and this quarter note is going to be in 4/4. All right, so we know all about time signatures. When we're in 4/4, what does the top number represent in a time signature? What does that tell us about our beats and our rhythm?
How many beats are going to be in the measure?
Absolutely. And so the bottom number, what does that tell us about the beats?
What kind of note gets to be?
Yeah, exactly. So in this case, the quarter note is going to get the beat, and there's going to be 4 of them in a measure. So say we have this quarter note, and I want to break that down into 2 smaller notes to make one beat. What note value would that be?
Eighth note. Yeah.
Absolutely, just 2 eighth notes. Just,
Rather than beating two.
yeah, just like that. Okay, so let's go even further, just one more. So say I want to break up these 2 eighth notes into one beat into smaller like note values. What would that note value be?
16.
Yeah, and it would just be, well, how many 16th notes?
2.
Well,
For one.
Because 2 is
yes,
1.
yeah. It looks like 4, but it is 2 for each eighth note. Absolutely. Yeah, okay. So you guys did that really well. That was awesome. So now we're going to use our subdivision knowledge to this little rhythm excerpt right here. And it's not very long. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to clap the steady beat for you guys, and you guys are going to count speak these rhythms. So when you get to the quarter notes, it'll be like 1, 2, 3, 4. And when you get to the eighth notes, it'll be 1 and 2 and so on. And with the 16th notes, it'll be 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4. But we won't go that fast. We'll go like that right here. Okay, so I'll clap and you guys just count speak, okay? And 1, 2, ready, and
1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a.
Awesome. So let's do that again, but we're going to start backwards, okay?
Ooh.
So
Okay.
I'll give you the beat, and 1,
Bless you.
2, ready, and
1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4.
Awesome job, you guys. You guys did really well with keeping the beats. That was amazing. Okay, so if everybody could get out their warm-up number 1. Okay, awesome. So brass and bells. You guys are going to be playing a scale, but it's not the whole scale. It's just from scale degree 1 to scale degree 5. You're going to go up, and then you're going to go back down. But what key do you think our scale is in?
It says E.
It looks like F on yours, but what's the concert key?
E flat.
Absolutely. So you guys are going to be playing E flat. So yes, yours is going to look like a whole step higher, but it's going to sound all the same. Okay, so snares and bells. If you look at your warm-up, you guys have a lot of different things going on. You're not really doing a scale. Now, bells are doing a scale, but snares are not doing a scale. But you guys have a lot of like smaller beats within the measure, so you guys are going to have to do a lot of subdivision in your head and make sure that you're counting, because it's really important to know when you're going to come in on the certain beats. Now, I know, especially for snares, you guys got a lot going on, but you know what? I want to just give you just a second just to read through it really fast before we go, and we're just going to give it a whirl. You know, if we crash and burn, it's totally okay. If we need to fix anything, we will definitely fix it. Okay, so just take a second to read over, especially snares, because I know there's a lot of rhythmic things going on. All right, is everybody ready? Okay, so we'll go fairly slow. We'll go about this speed. Go 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, not yet. 1, 2, ready, and. Started out really great, but I just want to hear just what you did just one time just to see if we're all set and ready to go. Okay, would it be helpful if we clapped it out first maybe, just to see? Let's do that. So, and 1, 2, ready, and. That was really good. So let's do that, everybody, just one more time. And 1, 2, ready, and. Much better, you guys. That was awesome. Okay, so let's move on to our last warm-up, which is warm-up number 2. Okay, so a little bit more theory, and yes, snares, just move to bells. Perfect, okay, and just do it in octaves. Okay, so let's look at the first line only for right now. So you see that there's, like, in each measure, there's 3 notes, and they're going kind of back and forth to the same note each time. And they look pretty far away. Does anybody know what interval difference that might be? Take a second to kind of count it up if you have to. Yes, Chase?
Perfect.
It is a perfect fit, yes. So now let's move to the second line. So it kind of looks like the first line too, where there's notes that are back and forth that kind of go back to the same note each time in each measure. So now tell me if you guys think it's a perfect fifth still, because it still seems pretty far away, but is it different or is it the same as the first line?
Is this measure 6?
This is, yeah, starting on measure 6 or the second line, however you want to
It's
look at it.
different, it's smaller.
It is a little bit smaller, but not by all that much. So what do you think that interval difference might be? If it's not a perfect fifth,
2, 3,
4.
it's perfect fourth, absolutely. Okay, so now perfect fifths and perfect fourths do sound and kind of look pretty similar. So make sure as you're going through like lines 1 and 2 that you guys are kind of spotting those differences and listening to those differences, because like I said, they do kind of sound the same. They also kind of look the same. All right, so as you see in each of your lines, they're marked out the last 2 measures here. For chop's sake and for hand's sake, we're just not going to play those, and we'll just do the first 3 for each line. And again, in the last line, it'll be the first 4. Does that make sense to everybody? Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's just do the first line only, and I'm going to cut you off on that too, and see if you can hear those differences between the perfect fifths and kind of what that sounds like. Okay, so I'm going to count you off just a measure of 4. And 1, 2, ready, and off. Okay, great. I want to hear brass for just a second, just one more time on that. Just make sure we're going up when we're supposed to. Do you have a question?
No.
Okay, you ready to try this one more time? Okay. Percussion, you're doing great. And 1, 2, ready, Okay, awesome job. That was a lot better than the first time. That was great. Okay, so now let's move to the second line. Okay, so we have our perfect fourths, not our perfect fifths. So as you're playing this, see if you can like tell the difference from the last line that we played and see how they might kind of sound a little bit closer than you might think, but they're still very different. Okay, and you're starting on the same notes that you started on the first measure as well. Okay, y'all ready? Okay. And 1, 2, ready, and. All right, brass, let's just work with you guys just again on this. I think once we do it one more time, we'll get pretty good polishing on that. And 1, 2, ready, and. Yeah, that was a lot better. Awesome job. Okay, so now let's move to the last line here. So, these measures, each of them are alternating between perfect fifths and perfect fourths. So let's look at this first measure. Is that a perfect fifth or a perfect fourth interval? Fifth. Okay, so the next measure, is that also a perfect fifth or is it a perfect fourth?
The fourth.
It's a fourth. Okay, so the next measure, yeah, and then no surprise, the next one is the fourth. Okay, so you're just doing those first four. So you're going to go back and forth between that perfect fifth and then that perfect fourth. Okay. Last one. Let's do this thing. And 1, 2, ready, and. Couple times. Yeah, that was